Our next guest will weigh in on Congress and President-elect Trump's economic agenda, the deals landscape, which he knows about now, and more. Let's welcome former House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. He is now Moelis & Company Vice Chairman and Managing Director. Thanks for joining us.
Joe, great to be here.
Seems like things are a little different than the last Congress in terms of that Mike Johnson election as Speaker, at least at this point. Can Trump maintain control?
Well, I mean, I think right now, we've been saying for a while, you know, he is the party. And so he's got a powerful punch coming in and is going to really drive an agenda. And I think that it's much different than what we saw 8 years ago in terms of the experience of the team he's got now. He himself understands now where to go. And I do think they're going to get a lot done the first 100 days.
The big, beautiful bill, will it be one? Is that possible to do?
It depends what your definition of beautiful is. If you're talking about, if you're talking
depends
about
on where you're sitting,
right? If you're talking about a debt ceiling on top of, you know, the $4.5–5 trillion tax extensions, all that, I'm not sure the traffic can bear all that. But I do subscribe to, you know, a position where it is, I think, much more straightforward, easier to get one bill. Now, when you look to these members and they're not going to get everything they want in the bill, and you're going to want to promise them another vehicle, there is another option to have another reconciliation bill later. So it's not that the dialogue and discussion won't be about two, but you're going to try and get everything done that you need on the tax piece on the first one.
I mean, my eyes don't glaze over with budget talks and things like that. But if we can talk about, like, whether we use military force to seize Canada, it just seems like more newsworthy discussions. Take your pick: Panama, Greenland. I think Canada is making an offer for Alaska and Minnesota. I said we're keeping Alaska, but I'm open to. Give me a price on Minnesota.
You give the people of Twin Cities a vote, right? So, but I mean, look, the thing is, we've been here before. I mean, we understand what this is about. We sort of understand what we've missed over the last 4 years, right? You just haven't had this sort of entertainment piece that comes with President Trump.
But where there's smoke, I'm not even going to use that analogy, but where there may be there may be a grain of
there's
negotiating or something.
No, there's serious issues under each of these sort of, you know, these theories of purchasing Greenland. It is about strategic import. You just had a piece on the critical minerals, but it's also about Russia. It's about China. It's about their positioning in the Arctic.
But would we use coercion, economic or military?
Well, I cannot imagine that you've got a NATO ally that you're going to sit here and undertake any kind of military action.
Right, but the question is
but again, we're in a different
Is economic
discussion.
coercion okay?
Yeah, but what about economic coercion? I think the question is there a way to do it? Let's say you want these things to happen. Is there a way to do this in a way that's friendly, that's not seen as coercive? Because does that, if it is coercive ultimately, does it change the entire dynamic around the globe as to how people view the United States? I mean, it's one thing to be...
they already hate us.
No, but there's a difference.
They got Iraq. They got all that
They
stuff.
love us. They want to...
No, they got a million reasons to hate it. What?
Look,
the great Satan?
If you were But hold on. If you're a bully, I think everyone agrees. Yes, people will kiss
we're bullies already.
People will kiss the ring of the bully, but they hate the bully.
They think we're bullies already. Europe does.
Right. They hate the bully.
Right. Well, they already hate us.
They may kiss the ring of the bully, but they hate the bully.
They already hate us.
I don't think that that's the case.
Do.
I don't
Look,
think that's the
think
case.
the appeal and what's going on now globally is the appeal is we got to go take care of ourselves. We've been carrying the load of the world on our shoulders. And that is politically where we are, right?
Correct.
So if you're saying, are we going to use the might of America to sort of help better the lives of people here at home, you're darn right. That's what Trump was elected on. But every other leader in the world is of the same ilk, and they're going to go after that, too. So whether you say it is coercion or whether you say it's leverage, the thought on the part of most of the people that are driving Trump's popularity is the fact that they don't think we've gotten a fair shake and that we're paying too much of the bill.
That's been our trade policy all along. We have to be an example of this.
But the definition
it's a real
of a
world,
strong
Andrew.
man is a very interesting sort of concept, right? And if you're suggesting that every country is now turning into that all leaders are now strong, quote unquote, strong, that's a much more complicated
I don't think in the end. I mean, Trump's got his way of negotiating and just framing the deal, and that's what we're all talking about, purchasing Greenland. I mean, we're all talking about a national security threat, and or maybe Canada should be a 51st state. I mean, like, pick your side. But we know how Trump does this, but at the end of the day, it really is about the rules that we put in place way back after World War II that we don't think have been properly sort of followed and executed for us.
How much of this, though, is a ridiculous conversation in the following way? We talked about building a wall. We never really fully built the wall. Elon Musk talked about $2 trillion. We're now talking about $1 trillion.
But you know what?
I'm not saying these things, but I'm not saying that they are not the germ of something, meaning that there will be some outcome that will be potentially helpful to the country. But the idea, there's the big idea, and then there's a more realistic
We've been
idea.
here before. We understand when the wall issue about Mexico paying, you know what they did do? Under Trump, they went and they fortified their southern border to go and stem the tide of the migrants so that we benefited. So this is just his M.O. We get that. So everybody's falling for it again, but to sit here and talk about that we're going to overtake militarily.
So what should we be talking about?
Well,